Jerry Springer made a living off of this. Maury made a living off of this. Like this is society. Being with one person has, to me, from what I've seen and from the history and what I've read, it's not a normal thing. It doesn't appear to be. And that doesn't mean that there isn't people that can do it. Obviously, people can get into relationships and in marriages and never cheat. It's obvious. And we know that can happen. But I don't see this as, I guess I just don't see it as this big bad thing like, oh, it's one of the things that's bringing down the community. Well, if it was bringing down just our community, it would be bringing down the whole world because people cheat all across the world.
Well, I think that what happens is I think it does affect all communities, like you said, and I think it affects cultures because guess what? If we're saying right now we have 80% of single moms, that all stem from somebody cheating or being sexually immoral. Some one time either they was married before or had sex prior to being married. Whatever the situation is, it wasn't a good thing because now you have a woman and a child that's uncovered. So it's not a good thing. Now, to answer that last part of that, I think that our culture responds differently to crisis. I'm gonna call it a crisis because being 80% single moms is a crisis. So I think the Black culture responds different, whereas the Caucasians, per se, the white folks, they're going to marry the people. Their response would be, I'm gonna marry this woman. I got her pregnant. I'm gonna marry her. They're not going to respond to the same tragedy that like we would. We have gotten so, I guess, hard or non-caring that it doesn't matter. If I impregnate her, it may work or it may not work, but it all depends on how I feel. But guess what? Some will even stay within it, not feeling good, and entertain 5 to 10 others and still create other homes that where a woman may be a single mom. And the other thing too, Trey, and I think you kind of alluded to this, it's so devastating. It's very devastating to a woman. So it's hard to imagine why a man that is loving and caring and kind to his wife would not understand that for whatever reason, would give her whatever reason that it's devastating, that maybe this shouldn't be something that we're indulging in. Because again, in marriage, we're trying to become one. So when you hurt your spouse, you're hurting yourself. It should be that serious to you. And if it's not, then where did we go wrong? Where did we go wrong? What are we not teaching? And why are we even bothering being married? Because we're not interested in the type of bond that is required to keep us. And that's exactly what it is, something to keep us.
So let me mention something to you. This is important enough for me to speak on it. You have to count the costs. The fact of the matter is, if you marry the right woman and she pours into your life, you have to count the costs. You have to say to yourself, is it worth losing my prize? Is it worth losing the woman that God sent to me? And that's what you're dealing with when you're being faithful to a woman. You're counting the cost. Now, I've been married 27 years, and I'm not perfect. I understand where you're coming from because I cheated on my first wife. But guess what? I didn't care about the cost. It's real simple. And that's all I wanted to say to you.